Hello, and welcome to Boots, your go-to podcast for all things women's soccer.
Woo! Welcome. Today we're going to be discussing the CONCACAF games, some of the WSL games, maybe chat about why Katie's not here, and just have a good time. So welcome. Woo!
Welcome. So, Kylie, how have you been?
I've been good. First and foremost, sorry we haven't been able to record an episode in a while. Katie's been out of town, so she's been in Australia getting to know Rebel Wilson and stuff like that. That's so cool. And I have had a couple midterms to do and some projects, so just got too stressed and everything. So first and foremost, thanks to Trista for keeping us afloat for a hot minute on all of our social medias, and just helping keep us afloat because it's been a bit crazy lately. So thank you, Trista.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? So life for me has been kind of boring, actually, in a good way, right? It's kind of nice when things are, you're in a routine. You don't have a lot of things like stressing you out externally, like no drama or anything in your life. So you can kind of like maintain and then like starts to set goals for yourself, start to see things, beyond just the day to day because you're in like a survival mode, which I was in for a little while. So now, life has been great. I'm loving my job. I love, like my day to day. I don't have a lot going on that's stressful. And honestly, that's really nice.
Oh, congratulations. I love that for you. Bentley gets to go on more walks,
Bentley gets to spend a lot of time with me. Bentley gets to go on more walks. And he's still somehow needier than ever. We don't know how that works, but
it's just called love.
Yeah. How's Mr. Kip?
Oh, he's doing good. This morning he didn't want to be in a room without me, so he's right here on the floor next to me. Which is cute. I love when he needs me. He's been needy as well, but his neediness is a bit different. Bentley's is like assertive. He'll let you know that he needs you. Kip's, I would say, is a bit more dramatic and maybe selfish. Yeah, he's like, you will take care of me right now. Like, if you're not going to pay attention to me, I will annoy you until you do. Yeah. And that's how he's been lately, which is really kind of cute still. I love him so much, so it is what it is.
Yes, it's still cute. Doesn't matter.
I'll tell a weird story. So I came home, I think from something with you, CONCACAF, one of the CONCACAF games. Oh my gosh, we'll have to get into going to the CONCACAF. But I came home one night and all of the chairs that we have in our pool table room were moved into our bedroom. Well, they were moved, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Christina moved them into the pool table room, and then she took these planks of wood and she arranged them into like a little pedestal, essentially. Then she put 4 planks of wood down so that it was a level surface across all of the stools. And then she propped up the areas around the edges and then put Kip's bed on top of that. And that's where Kip sleeps now, is on this manufactured pedestal right at the foot of our bed. It's so funny, hilarious, and cute all at the same time. So he now gets to sleep there. He's only fallen off twice, which I know people would think wow, that's terrible. It's kind of inevitable with him because he also is a bit uncoordinated and doesn't really know what he's doing. He just, backs up or starts nesting and just falls off. But he seems fine. So now that's how where his attention seeking or neediness has gotten him. He's now on a pedestal. So it gets you places.
I love that for him. We should all strive to be like Kip.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
We should all just demand what we think we deserve. like
and take nothing less.
and then we might get a throne at the bottom of the bed.
Yeah. Seriously. Well,
I yeah,
he
that's a
deserves it.
lesson to be learned
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Kip today.
If you're as cute as he is, you kind of might get whatever you want, you know?
Yeah, and that's on beauty privilege. Just kidding. Cute.
Keep talking. I just almost spit out my coffee. That kind of makes me laugh about the Sam Kerr situation. Did you see what they?
What she
uh,
actually said.
yeah.
Oh my
So
god, I can't
even
even believe this is real, honestly.
it's going through a 4-day trial. This is ridiculous.
With evidence. Like what in the
Yeah.
world? And
Okay.
when that news was announced, I was like, no way. Not my girl Sam, because the headlines were ridiculous. It was like um racial slur, I don't even know, but they were just, it was like racial comments against a cop, Sam Kerr. And I was like, Sam? Like, no. And you have these things happen where sometimes you don't, where you idolize somebody and you're a fan of somebody, but you don't know, like the person themselves, right? But you think really highly of them. And then maybe you realize, like, it comes to be that they're a terrible person. And you're like, no, because I love
Yeah.
you. Well, I really was like, that can't be though, because Sam's amazing and adorable, and like she's got to be a good person. What?
Yeah.
And then it comes out, what is it that she even says? I
Stupid
don't know.
white bastard.
Yeah, stupid. It's a racial
While you're drunk in
comment.
a cab. Well, I don't know if she's drunk or anything, but while you're coming home from a night out in the cab, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's an argument over cab fare.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, what in the world? And of course, our girl Sam is going to not actually say anything that's
Yeah.
that bad because come on. And so now it's like, who is
It's
this
just
cop? And why are they, what in the world?
it's
Who?
just it's sad that we're like spending so much money on this 4-day trial. Also, this happened a year ago at least because like they were trying to figure out what to charge her with because apparently they wanted to charge her with something. This is just ridiculous. It's like, why are you spending all these resources on this? This doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Okay.
the TikToks about it are so funny though. I can't stop laughing at it. Yeah.
Yeah, the TikToks really do crack me up. And also, I'm glad that, and I'm just kind of annoyed at the media. I'm like, why are we like phrasing it this way without having all the information and painting Sam in a bad light? Like, I can't
Yeah.
imagine how that would feel like as Sam with all of those things coming out. And she's like, oh my goodness, it's over something so minor, so like ridiculous. And I guess I wonder if we'll get more information as things unfold. I don't know, but it probably kind of sucks to be her in this
I
situation right now.
I can't imagine how she felt up until maybe I think yesterday is when like what actually was said was um uh revealed. So like I can't imagine how she felt. I don't know how long it was, but maybe a few days until then. Where
Yep.
she's probably just getting a lot of hate before everyone knew all the facts. It's just kind of sad. Yeah, I can
Oh,
imagine.
100%. I can't
But
imagine either.
I hope she's having a great ACL recovery time. You know, hope she's recovering well, and that this doesn't really make her,
Impact.
yeah, anything for her. But
Mm-hmm. Wild.
good vibes
Wild.
her way. That's what we'll send.
Yeah, good vibes.
Yeah,
Well, Kylie and I did stay up till how late were we up last night?
I'd say one. I'm okay with one.
We were up till about 1 a.m. because we live in Central Time. Thank goodness we don't live in Eastern Time. We would have went up till 2 a.m.
Seriously.
Watching the U.S. versus Canada game, which was absolutely wild. And
Bonkers.
I just am still mind blown that they were able to play this game.
One. Yeah. It, it's so
Like,
sad because it definitely wasn't like a testament to how good those two teams are and how good that game could have been. Like I'm glad. I'm almost glad. I'm definitely glad it went into extra time. So, but like, I don't. It was just the whole first half was just watching them slip and slide and chase after this like waterlogged field. What chased after this ball on this waterlogged field that the ball would just die wherever it was kicked and needed to be kicked extremely hard to get it anywhere. It was just so.
It was really sad. And I think in the first like couple minutes, when the Lindsay Horan after Lindsay Horan kicked the ball, she was like, and it went absolutely nowhere. She was like, "Ref!" Like immediately, "Ref! What? How are we still playing on this?" And I
Yeah.
was watching some of the after game things because I was already awake at this point. And somebody had asked why, like one of the announcers had asked why they hadn't canceled the game or why they hadn't stopped the game. And I guess there's a lot of like political reasons why that game wasn't stopped or postponed, or like, I guess, even like waiting it out and just kind of seeing if the conditions cleared a little bit, which they did. So it probably would have been better if they would have waited um, like an hour or so, and it would have been a lot more fair, I think. So, kind of sad to watch that first half because it was, and the Instagram comments were really hilarious. One of them was, "Stop trying to make Snapdragon happen," and which I thought was really funny. And
During
then
the game,
another
I was
one,
thinking they should just come back to Houston. The weather here is amazing. Just amazing. I was like, oh, that would be so cool. Just come back over here. Yeah.
I
Okay.
know, because it's been raining this whole time basically. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, the weather in Houston has been phenomenal. Like, just come to Houston,
Please.
um, please. And then another comment I saw on Instagram was Katie Ledecky is subbing um, for the U.S. Had me just cracking up. So the people on Instagram were really hilarious last night.
I think Sam Mewis had a few good ones. I think she had one time where like Daniel Van de Donk with her swim cap on her head, like she was doing it before it was cool or something like that. It was so good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that so much. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Sam's, or no, it might have been Women in Blazers. Sorry. So Sam Mewis is the editor in chief on Women in Blazers, and their Instagram account was posting those funny things. So I don't know if it was Sam, which high likelihood it was either her or somebody on her team. But yeah, it was so funny.
That's amazing. That's really hilarious. I mean, at least we were kind of able to make light, but Kylie and I did have I guess, a little tiny bet on who we thought was going to score
Mm.
first and which player. And
Yeah,
I'm going to boast that I won because
I think you should.
yeah, I haven't been doing that well with the heights guessing on this podcast. So I'm not winning a lot lately. So I'm happy to have won this one. Um, I thought that Jaden Shaw was going to score first for the U.S.,
And I thought that Adrian Leon was going to score first for Canada.
which
Um,
are really good predictions, I think, on either side.
both sides. They might be both the top two scorers of the CONCACAF so far. I think that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah, Leon for sure is the
yeah.
top scorer. Yeah, you know what? Shaw might be as well. I
That's what
think
I was
you're
saying. I
right
think
on
she
that
might be
one.
second. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
She
and
also has been crushing it. Let's just shout out Shaw. Oh, Shaw, thank you
so
for
cool
scoring
to
so many
see.
goals for us. Yes. Thank
So
you.
great. Yeah, she is phenomenal. She's been really crushing it, and her goals have been really, really nice. I did feel bad. Okay, so when Canada played in CONCACAF for the first three games here in Houston, Kylie and I kind of just converted to Canadian fans. We were really big Canadian fans because the players were phenomenal, and it was really great. They were really great to see. So it was hard to root solely for the U.S. last night because we had been cheering on Canada because that's who we were cheering on when they were in Houston in group play. So that was kind of a tough one, and it was rough because in that first half, I was excited for Shaw, but G is how we
Jill?
pronounce. Is it Jill?
think
I don't.
Jill.
Okay, Jill is how we pronounce uh, Vanessa's last name,
Okay.
but I felt so bad for her because that goal really shouldn't have happened except for the conditions on the field.
Conditions.
She
It
kicks the
was
ball as a defensive play back to her goalkeeper. The ball literally goes nowhere. Shaw capitalizes by being right there, sprinting forward, kicking the ball into the net, kind of like diving over the goalkeeper because both um, Jill and
Sheridan.
Sheridan, the goalkeeper, like are trying to recognize this mistake and like get to the ball before Shaw, and she just capitalized, which was really exciting for the U.S. But it's also just kind of like that goal probably wouldn't have happened if it weren't for the stupid field. So I even like texted Kylie like a little bit later in the game, which I think is funny. And I was like, I feel really bad for Jill right now because of that goal. And then like right as I texted that,
Right as you texted that, you got a beautiful feeder ball from, I don't know who kicked that ball, but it went over everybody. I think, was it Lawrence or was it?
Lawrence.
Okay. Uh, and it went all the way to, this is in the last minute of extra time, stoppage time. So like we've already done the first half of extra time. We're in the second half of it, last minute of it. It goes, and Vanessa is going up for the header, hits it with her head, and then a listener collides with Vanessa. It looks awful, honestly. Like, that looks like a terrible collision. And it gets awarded a PK. So Vanessa essentially got the penalty kick that then sent the U.S. and Canada into a penalty kick situation at the end all of it too. So the game ended it a 2-2 draw, and then PKs after that, which we can talk about how it's a listener nation. But I watched the highlights of it again today, and I was like, I can't believe her. Like, how can someone do everything she did? So, quick recap of the game. Which we should just tell them what happened when. So,
Yes.
first half, you had Jaden Shaw score. Trista won the bet there, so I'll buy her a coffee here or probably a drink at Bad News Bar sometime soon. And then second half, our girl Haidama goes in. So Haidama plays for, I think, OL Reign.
Yes.
And which we found out while we were researching the Canadian team when they were here in Houston. We really enjoyed going to all the games here. So Haidama checks in, and then she scores off a beautiful header from... That was a beautiful feed, too.
Fleming.
Oof, good job, Fleming. Fleming now plays for Portland Thorns, who used to play... Fleming also used to play for Chelsea. It was so cool watching Canada. This was a hard game for us to cheer for the U.S. solely. Yeah, we want good games.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so we go into extra time after all of this. In extra time, Sophia Smith, it was so good. It was so good to see her score because I don't think we've seen her score much in this CONCACAF tournament as much as we would like to see her score. But Rose Lavelle has this beautiful header backwards towards Sophia Smith, who's running at goal, and she capitalizes that goal beautifully, flawlessly. It was amazing. Not much Sheridan could have done except try and get even bigger, but like it was beautifully fed by Rose Lavelle. Then, in the last minute of extra time, is when Vanessa is awarded the PK from her collision with Listener. The person who steps up to take it is Leon, and she buries it. She, I think, crossed up Alyssa. Alyssa went to the right side, and Leon went to the... Well, I guess it depends on who you're talking about. How do you say that when you're in PKs? Do you say from the goalie's perspective or the kicker's perspective?
I think we should talk about it from the kicker's perspective because that's also the way that you're watching it technically.
Okay.
So Alyssa goes to the left.
Yeah.
And Leon buries it in the bottom right.
Yes. Okay, that sounds better. So now we're essentially just going into PKs because the game is over. We've gone into extra time. We're tied at 2-2. And goodness gracious, emotions are high. That PK was crazy. Alyssa just let in a PK. That could mess up your mentality as a goalkeeper. Like, that's the ending of regular time and extra time for you to go into a PK situation, PK shootout.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about that?
Oh my God, would I love to.
Ah,
So in PKs, first, the US is going to kick. We've got Sophia Smith. And this is kind of interesting because Sophia, and she does talk about this actually at the end of the game, but Sophia in the World Cup, when the US was in PKs to move on to the next round, Sophia was one of the players to miss their penalty kick, which hindered the US to move on. And I'm sure mentally that's got to really mess you up. So she's the first player to go for the US to kick her penalty kick, and she absolutely crushes it. Sheridan also guesses to go to the left, which is where Sophia kicks it, but she kicks it so perfectly that there was no way anybody was going to stop that PK. And I just was so happy for her because I'm sure like mentally that was such a struggle to have to like go up and kick the ball, like even after, kind of struggling over the summer and probably getting a lot of heat for that. So I was so proud of her. I was so happy for her. And that was literally so phenomenal. For Canada, do you remember who kicks it first? I don't remember.
Leon goes up again. So she had just gone and kicked the PK to send us into PKs. Is that what I should be
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shootout. Yeah.
Shootout. Okay. Say shootout so it doesn't get as confusing. So she steps up to kick it again. And you're kind of like, is she going to go in the same spot? Is she going to go bottom right? Is she going to switch it up? I don't know. So she switches it up. She goes kind of mid left. And Alyssa stops it like the wall she is. She stops it like nobody's business. Ain't nothing getting back there, that's for sure. It was a beautiful stop and like set us up to have some good momentum to go into the rest of the PKs. Yeah.
Yes, I was just going to say, I feel like that first goal really sets the, I don't know, kind of sets the standard, sets the pace of how that shootout's going to go. And if the player makes it or, doesn't or whatever, I feel like that kind of gets in everybody's head. And I think that's maybe what happened to Canada in that moment with Leon, Alyssa Nair stopping her PK. But I do think it's interesting that she switched it up, and I wonder if she's thinking back, like maybe I shouldn't have. And it's just amazing that Alyssa is able to come back from kind of the very last minute of the overtime, and you know, kind of causing that yellow card PK to happen with Leon in the first place, and then stopping the goal. It was absolutely phenomenal. Then we have Corbin Albert, and Kylie and I, we were like talking and we were like, I'm wondering what, and I don't really know this player as well, but I'm wondering what the decision behind having Corbin take the second PK was, because we do have more veteran players on the lineup that I'm wondering if maybe they should have been in that second slot. So Corbin must be good at this in her training. But I wonder pressure wise if this, I mean, and also she does need exposure, right? In
That's what I
high
was
pressure
thinking.
situations to take PKs. But she just misses she kind of shoots it over the net, is not on frame. And I'm sure that's a difficult one uh, to kind of swallow there.
She's just now at a higher percentage to make her next one, right? Like that's kind of what it is at this point. You have to like think about it that way. But yeah, it was surprising to see her second in the PK shoot up line out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it has to do with exposure, and she's got to be like that. The power on that ball, it sailed quite quickly and far. So I think it could have just been, I don't know, getting her more exposure. She's probably extremely good at them, but it
Yes.
was just not her day today or yesterday, and
And
she's
that's
gonna make
okay.
her next one. Yeah.
Yep. And she did have a really good tournament.
Oh,
So
she's still having it. Let's go.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. we still have one more game, and I'm sure she'll be a big pivotal person in that game. So that's really exciting. Next, we have on for Canada. Who do you know who took it second for Canada?
Was it? It wasn't Quinn. Was it Quinn?
No, no,
Quinn was
it
third.
wasn't Fleming.
Fleming was fourth.
So the person who goes second for Canada, I can't quite remember. Kylie's going to pull it up. Also kicks it nearly in the same place as Leon, and Alyssa Nair just stops it. Like, same thing. She's just a wall. She stops it. It's phenomenal to see. And at this point, I'm like losing my mind for Alyssa Nair because stopping two PKs in a row is, I think, as a goalkeeper, that's really difficult. I think it's really difficult to stop PKs in general. Like, being the goalkeeper that stops, a PK when we've got professional players who kick the ball so hard, who train for this. It's amazing.
It was Heidema.
That's right. It was Heidema, our second, the first goal scorer of Canada in the game, and also she had a phenomenal tournament. We'll talk about that in CONCACAF. But yeah, then we have Alyssa Nair, which we saw in the World Cup, take the third PK for the U.S. And she, I think, has, alongside Sophia Smith, like the most beautiful PK. Goes bottom right, just slots it right in there. And she is
like the best angle you could possibly have, I would say. Like there was nobody going to be able to stop that ball. It was beautiful. Alyssa, boss, is all like, what a boss.
phenomenal. But I was losing my mind. I was losing my absolute mind over Alyssa Nair because, wow, like she is truly amazing, especially in these shootout moments, high pressure situations. We saw it in the World Cup too. She was phenomenal in the shootout in the World Cup, and she shot and scored her goal in the World Cup as well. So love that for her. It's amazing to see. She just crushed it. So then we go back, and it's Quinn. Quinn for Canada scores it in the right. They absolutely did amazing in scoring that goal. And Quinn also had a great tournament and was lovely to see. We then have, I think Quinn was the only one to score for Canada then. So
yeah,
that's exciting.
That's how much of a wall Alyssa is, yeah.
Then we have, who do we have next?
Lindsay Horan.
Oh my gosh, Lindsay Horan. And Lindsay Horan has already scored 2 PKs in this tournament so far, I believe.
Yeah.
Stepped up, buries her PK. We were so excited, screaming, crying, just being so pumped about it. And then we've got Canada up next. We've got Jessie Fleming up to score her PK and shoot to get Canada to continue on in the shootout. And that's a lot of pressure. We even saw that in the U.S. for the World Cup. It's probably a lot of pressure to be the reason why you move on or you don't. She pretty much shoots it in the same area that Leon and Heidema did. And Alyssa just stops it. Of course she does, because she's a wall. She's amazing.
It was just amazing. Alyssa stopped 3 out of 4 PK kicks and converted her own penalty kick. Like, it's her world. We're just living in it.
I am just in awe of her, and I just, even after watching her in the World Cup, I was like, oh my God, she's phenomenal. She's amazing. And I'm such a big fan. Like, and I think does so well in high pressure situations. Like, if you are in a high pressure situation and you need a goalkeeper, Alyssa Nair, like, she's amazing.
I won't even call Ghostbusters anymore. It's Alyssa Nair. That's who you should call.
100%. Like, so exciting. So the U.S. is on to the finals now. And kind of sad to see for Canada. But like Kylie said, it was kind of nice that this is how this played out, because we got to see a lot more competitive and like real looking soccer in the second half, and especially in the extra time. We got to see a little bit more what these teams are capable of, and that first half with them just kind of kicking the ball around and was kind of crazy. And I also think that this catered really well to the U.S. because the U.S. has a lot of speed and they're really fast and they're really good at kind of kicking that ball, doing long balls and getting somebody on it. And I think even historically, like that's how the U.S. has been successful. And with the game kind of changing over time, they haven't been as successful in doing that. But with this field being set up how it was, that's basically what they had to do. And it kind of catered towards what they're good at. So even, in the second half, we've got Lynn Williams, who's so fast, and you can see it. Unfortunately, she didn't really get to capitalize, but she put on a lot of pressure. And also, that's, I think, another reason why Sophia Smith subbed on in the second half. She's fast. She's really fast. And that really helped our U.S. team a little bit, is having that speed and playing those long balls. And another thing is they could not pass backwards. What a weird problem to have. Like, you cannot pass the ball backwards or it's just going to get stuck and the other team may just be jumping on it. So they're constantly kicking the ball in the air. They're constantly kicking the ball forward. And it's a really strange thing to watch from professional soccer.
Also, though, like, shout out to our defensive line and Naomi Gurma for literally not letting anything possibly be able to be capitalized on in the back behind them when anything was passed by them. They wouldn't try to pass it around the back line and get it around somebody. No, they would just kick it out because they weren't taking any chances off that. Yeah.
Nope, they were just bombing it.
Yes, and saying forwards, go, sprint.
Yep, they're like Lynn Williams, sprint around, and that's what she was doing. But that's what they had to do, and it was wild. And so they completely had to change their tactic and style of play, which I think would be really hard in the moment, especially when you don't expect that to be an issue. And when you want to move the ball, when you want to make solid passes, and it seemed like no matter what, they could, especially Canada, they couldn't quite connect together as well. And when Kylee and I watched here in Houston them play, and when they did so well passing the ball and moving it around the field, and it would start on the right, and in 2 passes, 3 passes, it'd be over on the left side of the field, and then back over to the right, with a solid cross. They were so good at moving that ball around the field and in through the center with whoever was playing in the center. And I just think that what the field was at was really hindered them in their style of play. And that's kind of sad to see.
It was sad to see that it wasn't the best showing that it could be, but I guess you also have to do with the best with whatever the situation gives you, and the US I guess did that. Well, kind of. I mean, it just went into penalty shootouts, so I don't know if also you can say that they obviously both did the same with, I guess, the field quality. So I don't know.
Yep.
It was so funny to see essentially the slip and slides of the players. You would see, I think I saw Lindsey Horan fall at one point and slide a good 15 feet afterwards. It was amazing. Just to see how far they would go. I remember watching the opening minutes of the game, and I think there was a corner right at the beginning, and Vanessa ends up on the ground at some point, and she stands up and she just wrings out her jersey, wrings it out. It was ridiculous. But I guess congratulations to the US. They're moving on in the CONCACAF. Sorry and sad to see Canada go. They've had a great tournament so far. Excited to see what they'll do in the Olympics. And I guess they're going to work on their PKs. They had 3 players kick the ball in the exact same spot, and it doesn't make any sense. But so we'll probably look for them to not make that mistake in the future, or probably ever again. Honestly, it's kind of this is good practice to get you set up to do better or do well at the Olympics. So they're just going to take that home and
in bigger world tournaments, right? That's what these kind of tournaments are set up for, to set you up for success and moving on in even bigger tournaments. And Canada probably now is going to take that and internalize it and probably do a little bit of work in that area, like Kylee said. And also shout out to Brazil
Absolutely.
for
Yeah, we were gonna move on to that. Yeah,
beating.
transition queen.
Shout out to Brazil for beating Mexico in the game prior for the semifinals. I was rooting for Mexico because I really wanted to see another Mexico-U.S. Matchup because of U.S.'s loss in the group stage. But Brazil came and they showed out. Like it was a phenomenal game. I do think though. So I think in the first like 20 minutes or so,
Yeah.
Mexico had a red card and a PK, wasn't it? Or no? It
No,
was just a
no
red card.
PK. Yeah.
Okay, they had a red card and then lost a player, and that's always going to hinder you, right? The field is huge. You've got 11v11. You've got a lot of players moving around, especially at this stamina, at this pace, and so I think that was a really big bummer for Mexico. And I think at that point they were about 1-1. So then I don't know. It kind of I think what allowed Brazil to just dominate. And they had some beautiful goals, like absolute stunning goals. There was
Yeah.
one goal where the player flicked it behind, I think this was the third goal, where she flicked
Mm-hmm.
it behind, she got the cross over from the right side, and then she used her right foot and then moved the ball like around her left leg and flicked it behind her into the corner of the net. That, oh my God, it was
That's
beautiful.
amazing.
I was
That's
actually
like
screaming when I saw that goal. I was like, is she serious? Like, that was, and that's so Brazilian coded. Like, the flair, the style, like, you're going to see it, and it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. And I remember thinking to myself, like, there's no way I could do that.
I just fall over, honestly.
Like, even if I tried, I would literally fall over. And she just flawlessly boop, kicks it in the back of the net. And it was so, oh my God. That's got to be, I think, one of
Amazing.
my favorite goals of the tournament was seeing that one. And yeah, it was truly beautiful. It really was.
So cool.
So I think it's going to be a really cool matchup. This is going to be on Sunday. The U.S. versus Brazil. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be good. I hope it doesn't rain.
Oh my gosh, seriously. And I hope that field like clears out, like drains, please. That was just
Yes.
terrible. Because the rain
Yes.
started in the Brazil-Mexico game and then just kept going all night through the U.S. Also, I'm just gonna complain 1 second. These these games are so late over that are being played in California. It's so late for me. I'm just staying up till midnight, 1 a.m. consistently lately, and so my sleep has been off. So, CONCACAF, please stop.
But also,
9:15 start times? That's so late.
yeah, like what in the
10:15 if
world?
I'm on the East Coast? That's terrible.
Like why? Why? I think it's. I mean, it makes sense because they're catering to the people in the stands, right? The people who
Yeah.
can show up, and they're also double headers. So you buy a ticket, you can go to both games. They're catering to that. It makes sense, but oh my gosh, Casey on the Case did say something when they switched. So originally, the U.S. was supposed to play first, Brazil first, and then CONCACAF switched they flip flopped after the U.S. made it. Sorry. So Brazil and Mexico were supposed to play second with how it
Oh.
was structured. And then the US and Canada were supposed to play first with how it was structured. And then CONCACAF flipped it. And Casey on the Case said something like, oh my gosh, do you even care about the East Coast? Because like that first game was set up for them to actually be able to watch it.
Yes.
And she lives in California. So that was kind of, something I hadn't really thought about when they flip flop those games. But yeah, then we're like, oh, that's sad again for anybody who's watching that late game. But anyway, we should talk about our CONCACAF experience here in Houston.
Okay, so Tristan and I went to all of the 3 evenings of CONCACAF here in Houston. We got to see Canada, Puerto Rico.
Nope.
Nope. Dang,
We got to
you're gonna
see
make me mess this
Canada.
up. Okay, first and foremost, I'll also complain one more time. At the games, there's only flags of representation of the countries. And like there's not even like a PAR or like a ELS for El Salvador. No, there's no letters. It's just the flags of the countries. And yes, okay, I know Canada's flag just fine. I got that maple leaf down. And then I finally know what El Salvador's flag looks like. Totally fine because it's all blue. The other two teams mixed them up every single time. So Trista will tell you who else was in Houston.
Well, Kylie got the other two right. We had Costa Rica, we had Paraguay, and then we had El Salvador. What was really cool was seeing how, and this is something I don't think we realized, but every time El Salvador played, they had a really big fan base. And we saw that in the very first game we went to. We watched Costa Rica Paraguay play, and it was a really good game actually, but there wasn't a lot of fans. And then when Canada played El Salvador, oh my gosh, did El Salvador show up
all the way around. I don't think I've been able to see. I didn't know El Salvador's national anthem was that beautiful because I heard so many fans singing it as we were like watching the opening parts of that game. It was so cool. I didn't know there was such a big El Salvadorian population here in Houston, but you guys showed up and supported your women's team. Like they finally got goals in the last game they were at, but they hadn't scored all tournament. So it was really good to see them to score for all of their supporters that did show up on the last day of CONCACAF for them. Yeah.
Yes, and they did work hard and they played well. And like Kylie said, the national anthem, it rang all throughout the stadium when El Salvador's national anthem played, and it was loud. Like you could probably hear it for blocks outside of the stadium. Like it was truly beautiful, and I don't think we always hear that like with fans when the national anthem plays, like everybody singing it collectively all at once. It was really cool. Every single time, like I got chills. We got chills when we were looking at each other like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Like we love to see it. Yeah, otherwise El Salvador, they played hard. They played well, and we enjoyed watching every single game. Costa Rica also ended up really doing well in the quarterfinals against Canada, which was cool because we saw them play really well, but sometimes they couldn't quite capitalize, and they always had good chances. And what was cool is seeing them adjust their defense, which is what they really needed to do against Canada. And that was awesome. Paraguay also really, really great. And I don't think that these teams always get a lot of exposure. So we learned a lot about all of the other teams that were in CONCACAF, and that was cool. And being in person, watching women's soccer and at that caliber was we were so happy. Every CONCACAF, we were just like, we're so lucky that this group is in Houston. And like obviously we're going to complain a little bit, like the whole more could have been in Houston. That would have been great, but it's okay because we got to go to those games and we had a great experience.
Yeah, it was.
But the stadium,
so fun.
though.
I don't want to be full of the complaints here, but okay. One, I don't know flags very well. Two, the stadium, like, they didn't open anything up for these like national team games. Like it was abysmal. Like you had one concession stand open for the first game, which was on a Thursday night, where El Salvador, it was probably the most well-attended game, and like nothing was open. So you could only get like a hot dog at one concession stand or whatever else you wanted to get. And it was just super unfortunate. So the line there was just ridiculous. And almost everything else was closed. There was one elote stand open, which is this Mexican corn in a cup, which is pretty good. That also was open, but it was just sad. It was just sad that like you've got these national teams playing here in Houston, and we didn't even like open up the facility as well as it could have been open for these games. We finally started to open it up for the last game, but the last games were on like a Wednesday night or something like that, and it's like there weren't as many people there. Also, it was a cold day, so that one, I think Vinny's was finally open. Vinny's is our local favorite pizza place here in Houston. That's at the stadium. I'll have that caveat too.
And it was really unfortunate to see because it's like they started as the games went on, realizing, oh, we should like open the food stands. And it's like, what? Why weren't these open the first day, which is, I think the first day probably had the highest attendance. Why weren't these open on the Sunday game, which is on a weekend, which is also going to have higher attendance, even though I think more things were open? It was just ridiculous. And I don't want to be too harsh on whoever makes those decisions because I don't know what goes into that. But when you have this high of caliber of soccer, when you have this kind of a prestigious tournament going on in your city, like you want to get people in there. And even if you're not going to, make the most pizza or make the most burgers or whatever it is that it is, one really cool thing about our stadium here in Houston is that a lot of the food stands are from local places. And so I don't know if that plays into the decision on having them open or not, like those restaurants pick and choose. But I think the stadium should have a bigger push on having more options, having more people open, because that also creates a better fan experience and people wanting to come back to the stadium for these types of games. So that is a complaint that we have, and it was kind of annoying. Yeah, it was annoying because we were there for all three days, all 6 games, and our options were very limited, especially compared to what they could have been. And I just think that impacts the fans' experience and kind of limits people going to games there in person.
Yeah,
Maybe
seriously.
somebody who isn't as diehard of a fan didn't have a good experience and goes, I don't really want to go to the Sunday game now because I had to wait
Right?
in 20 minutes in line for a hot dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it would have been more than 20 on that Thursday night. I think it would have been yeah, that was rough. But we made some cool Canadian friends. They were sitting in front of us on the Sunday game. And they flew all the way down here from, I think, Ontario or something like that, just to watch the women's team play. Like, die-hard fans. I can't wait to do that maybe when I retire. But that
Oh
was
yeah,
so
that's
cool to see
future
them.
us. That's
Yeah.
future us. Yeah, it was like an older woman as well, and we were just like, "You're our idol. Like, you're an icon, and I just see myself in you for a future me." That's
Uh,
really really cool. We also like we slowly converted into Canadian fans like over time. We started to quickly learn about. We knew a lot of the players already, just because they're world class players who play in really top tier leagues in Europe or here in the NWSL. But I did like I just stalked like all of them on Instagram and like the internet, like after the first day, especially ones that were really standout players. And I was just like, oh my God, you're phenomenal. But, like Quinn and Jordan Heidema, they play here in the NWSL. So we're going to get to see them play this season, which is really exciting.
and Fleming
Um,
now.
oh my gosh, Anne Fleming, I can't even believe it, which is really exciting. And, I became a real big Adriana Leon fan because
Oh,
she was phenomenal. It was amazing.
she's such a machine, like a powerhouse. Like, there's no stopping her sometimes, or almost any time. It was. I think the rain really kind of equalized her capabilities for our defense last night because Leon or our defense did well at shutting her down also. But man, she was super fun to watch.
She had some
You've
stellar
got
goals.
oh, she is still, I think, the leading goal scorer in the CONCACAF right now. Yeah. So super cool to see her. So she plays for Aston Villa over at WSL. Aston Villa just played yesterday, so they might have been missing her
They probably were.
for their game. Yeah. And then Chloe
Especially-
Lacasse, she plays for Canada as well, but she plays for Arsenal in the WSL. So that's pretty cool. And
Yep.
then you've got Ashley Lawrence, who played. See, these things we kind of knew Canada had a lot of good players, but like we showed up and we're like, oh my gosh, we know their whole team. We watch them play like every Sundays or Wednesdays or anything. Ashley Lawrence plays for Chelsea. You've got Vanessa Jo, who plays for Lyon. Good friends with Lindsay Horan. They hang out all the time while they're over there in France.
Yes, and
Town.
they switched
Yeah, they did a jersey
jerseys
swap.
last night.
Yeah,
Oh, cute.
yeah. So did
Um,
Lawrence and Corbin.
oh,
Yeah,
that's cute
that's
too.
cool. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, and then also they have two players playing who play in college. Rose
Hmm.
plays for Harvard,
Hmm.
and who's the other one playing in
Someone else
college?
plays somewhere else.
Someone was playing somewhere else. I don't know, but yeah, they were so good, and we became really big fans. So it's funny because over time we like kind of converted into being bigger and bigger fans. So we first show up and we're just like, not we're in like regular clothes, I think, and we're just there. The second time we show up, we decided to wear Arsenal jerseys, in support of Chloe Lacoste because she plays for Arsenal, and we were like, oh, this is one way we can support,
It's
and
red.
like, and it's red, so we were like, and there were other people wearing Arsenal jerseys as well, so they must be fans in that regard. And then by the end of the tournament, we had a Canadian flag that we were like
Waving
waving.
around.
Yeah, turned into like full blown Canadians by the end of that tournament. And we also got some signatures
Yep.
from the
We got
Canadian
some
players.
signatures.
And Vanessa Jill took a picture with Kylie. It was
Hmm.
adorable. It's on our Instagram and our TikTok.
I wish Trista were in that photo with us, but I'm thankful Trista was also capable of taking the picture. It was kind of a funny
Okay, so the thing
scenario.
is we were like starstruck and kind of acting ridiculous. There were these one fans next to us, and they asked nearly every single person for a picture, and every player was so kind, and they were just like, "Yeah, sure," takes a picture, and I'm standing there like with my jaw like, and then I was like, "We should ask. That's all you have to do, I guess. Like you just have to ask them." And so Vanessa is like, she's like so adorable. She's like coming over and like interacting with fans. And I was like, oh my God, can we get a picture? Then I spill my beer, Kylie's beer, trying to get my phone like out of my bag or something. And like Vanessa just has to sit there while I'm fumbling around. And so then I was really nervous. So then that's why I just got the picture with Kylie because I was like, I didn't want to like waste more of her time, I guess, is kind of how I felt. And then Adrienne Leon comes over and she's like in the same era. We could have definitely asked her for a picture, like 100%. She's taking selfies with fans. She's like right next to us. And she's so pretty, you guys. Like, you see pictures of her, you see her on TV. She's drop dead gorgeous, right? She really is. But like, she was like 2 feet away from me, and I couldn't move my mouth to ask for anything. Like, I couldn't. I was just like staring at her, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I actually am really mad at myself for that one because I think she would have taken a picture with us, like 100%.
Related to maybe Corbin Albert kicking the PK. You know, it was our first experience in a high pressure situation of interacting with the players, trying to get photos with them or trying to get them to sign our stuff, and maybe we just are too powerful, swinging our bag around and knock over all the beers and just distract everything. Kind of like how she kicks it way too hard over the net, you know? So just like Corbin Albert, the next time we interact with people, we won't have as much butterfly or like scatterbrained going on. Yeah.
We'll be a little bit more calm, cool, and collected, and we'll be able to like actually communicate properly.
Who knows, honestly, though.
Who knows? I mean, even Vanessa, what was like, picture? Like, I don't even know if I said like a full sentence, like a weirdo. And she was like, okay.
Yeah, she was so nice about it. Everything.
She was so nice, and all of them were
Yeah.
so nice. But like,
They were all so nice.
they're trying to go. You have to ask them. You have to be like, "Can I get a picture?" And so, just staring at them isn't going to work.
Think about this also, like they're coming up to see all these people and they're just like just staring at them. Like, what are you supposed to do there?
They're just like, "All right, okay, I'm gonna go to the locker room now."
All right.
So embarrassing, really, when
I
you
think if
think
I
about
ever
it.
went to an Arsenal game, that would happen to me. Like, I think it would be so bad.
No, I know. I think the kids next to us, they were on it. They were like,
Crushing it.
"Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture?" They had like 15, I don't know, proud, that's an exaggeration. They had at least 6 pictures with like multiple players, and I was so impressed. I was just watching them and I was like, how can I do what they're doing? I don't know, I can't do it.
I still think they have a cuteness factor, right? It's a bit more normal for kids to be doing this than like almost 30-year-old people. But
Okay,
I'm still as jaw-dropped and jaw-dropped and starstruck as I think these kids are. So like, yeah.
you know what, Kylie, that does actually make sense. I didn't think about that part. And maybe that's also why it's even more weird that we didn't say a thing. We were just staring.
Oh,
But
maybe like
yeah.
we need to have like one line that makes it normal. Like, how's Houston going for you? Something that's like
How are
maybe
you?
some normal. I don't know.
I
Yeah,
think
you
we
can't
should
just shout out,
I think we should just throw compliments out. I love you.
I
We'll see
love
how
you.
it goes.
You're amazing.
I don't know. Anyways, if anybody does know how to approach a player properly, please let us know
Oh, let us know.
because
Give us tips. We'll practice. Like people practice for their PKs. We'll practice meeting women's soccer players. Yeah.
oh, that's a fun TikTok acting out idea. That's what we should do, Kylie. We should practice approaching a player properly for a picture or signature, and then maybe we'll be more ready next time.
Okay, I'm down. Yeah.
But
Either
anyway,
way, I have to get going to class. And so we've kind of got to wrap it up. I mean, we could sit and chat for ages, I think, just because this CONCACAF tournament has been so fun. We're excited to see Brazil and US play here on Sunday. Please, also, we've got a special guest with us coming up on our next episode. So make sure you tune into our next episode as well as this one. Please like and subscribe, comment, let us know how we're doing. Feedback is always great. Or ask us any questions. We'll try and get to all the questions we have. I think we've got some formation questions that people have asked us and some other stuff to answer, but we'd love to hear from you. So thanks for listening so far. Yeah.
thank you so much for listening to Boots, and we can't wait to share our next episode experience with you all. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day or week.
Oh, yeah. Woo!
Woo woo woo!
Bye, Lacers.
Bye.